Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we are going to talk about a Qwen Image LoRA, which can relight your images. The project is called Qwen Image 2509 Multi-Angle Lighting. And the basic idea here is to use this camera angle to relight the image. Now, your image can be a realistic image, like a photography that you've taken. It can also be AI generated. We have a total of 10 different angles that you can use to relight your images. If we scroll up here, you can see the example here. The original image stays the same. It's only the lighting that is changing, and it's basically where we are lighting the subject. Let's go for a quick demo here. I have the Qwen Image Edit 2509 workflow. I've added the Multi-Angle Lighting LoRA, and I've also added a note at the top. We'll come back to this, and here's my input image. So a sort of futuristic AI generated image here, and it's light up very well. I would say everything is well lit, which is what you're going to get from AI generated images. Now, by passing this image through the workflow, I can create an atmosphere like this, where only the headlight of the car is sort of on. Basically, we are getting light from, and everything else is in a dark atmosphere. Now, you can also do selective relighting by using a mask. Now, I found the mask inside of ComfyUI. You don't have a lot of options when it comes to carefully masking out the subject. So I prefer to use a free application like this one. This is Affinity Photo, and all I've done is create a mask, and now I can mask out my subject. So you can see that the original image does not have the light from the car headlight, and all I'm doing is masking out everywhere, just keeping this area where the lights are from the second generated image, and now I have this final image here. So you can blend these images together, and that is because the original image itself is not changing. I've done a couple of generation here. Let's go into my queue. Here is the original image. You can see we have light, like a bluish tint, only on the face on the left side here, and a little bit on the right side of the person. I've said to relight from the left rear. You can take the prompt from the top, and it's adding that light source from the left here, and it's from the back side of it. The original image is like this. Now we have a little bit of backlight showing up here. Now, of course, you can change the lighting completely. Here's another example where I'm relighting from the top, and another example here where I'm relighting and completely changing the color of that light from the left side of the person here. Finally, let's take a look at one more scenario where you can use this LoRA, and that is to use a second image to relight the first image. So in this example here, I have my first image, the same image that we've seen previously, and then I'm using this pattern as a guide for the LoRA to relight this original image. And here's the output. Think of it as if you are placing some kind of window, or maybe there's some kind of grid in front of the character, and we are getting this shape of this pattern on the character as if they are shadow. And of course, your prompt will matter depending on where the light source is. So we'll talk about that in a moment, but that's basically what is happening here. Now, you can use any grid pattern, or you can make your own pattern if you want to. All right, so that's pretty much it as to what you can use this LoRA for. There will be a link in the description below where you can download these different workflows. There will be multiple versions of it. For those who need that extra help, that hand holding, I'm going to go through this workflow to tell you what are the things that you can change, how to structure the prompt, how to do the masking in case you want to do it inside of ComfyUI. Again, I'm going to recommend using an external application. I'll also show you how to use a second image to guide the relighting process. Now, in the Hugging Face page, under Files and Versions, you will get the model. There are two versions right now. This top one is an older version. You can see the date here, and the bottom one in my case is the newer version. If you're watching this from the future and you find that there are more versions down below, you can always go back to the model card to find the latest update. I'm going to recommend you to use the second one for now, as that has better overall performance. You can also use a second image to control the lighting process. And if you go down, you will get some example for version 1. Now, downloading it is very easy. Just click on this download button. It will probably be in your downloads folder. It's a very small file. Next, go inside of ComfyUI, inside of models, then go inside LoRa's, and then paste that downloaded file here. Now, if you have difficulty downloading the file, in my case, because the characters were in Chinese, I was not able to save it. So when it asks you to save, rename the file, you can give it any name. I just gave it Multi-Angle Lighting, and then you can put .save tenses. So just rename it to something that is English or whatever your language is, in case you're having difficulty saving this file. Now, once you have it inside the LoRa's folder in ComfyUI, you can come back to the workflow, press R, and then under the Load LoRa, click the drop down, and depending on what you've named it, just search for the name, and you should be able to select it. Now, in case you're trying to implement this into your own customized workflow, then all you need to do is to add a Load LoRa node, and it should be after your Lightning 4 steps or 8 step. If you don't have the lighting like this, it will be after your load diffusion model. For the connection, connect the clip to the text encode plus, both the positive and negative, and then the model will go inside the model sampling overflow. Everything else should be the standard models. You can download all of it from here. By the way, you can also use the checkpoint mergers for Qwen Image Edit 2509. I just find that the base model works best when it comes to using this LoRa. Now, in terms of the prompt, take a look at the note that I've added at the top. There will be a credit section for the original author. There's also a YouTube video. By the way, if you have time, definitely check out their video and give them support by simply liking their video. I did it. It is in Chinese, but you can also enable the subtitle here. Now, the section I've added, or the two prompts section, there's a Chinese at the top and an English at the bottom. I've tested both, and I found that the Chinese has a little bit more prompt adherence when using the Chinese characters, but the English one works as well. Now, there are 10 different camera angle that you can use, and I've labeled them as number 1 to 10. All you'll have to do is click on it once and then just highlight the prompt that you would like to use. So if you want to use number 1, just highlight light source is from the front, and you can always change that front to left front, left rear, and so on. Now, same thing if you want to experiment with the Chinese one, just get the Chinese characters like this, copy it, and then paste it in your prompt below like this. I've added a description here so you can see this means front. Now, the rest of the workflow is pretty standard to Qwen Image Edit 2509. Just input your image here. Disable these two load images for now. Once you have your prompt, make sure you have the LoRa here. If you're not using the Lightning model, then your Ksampler settings will be steps 20 to 25. CFG is 2.5. If you have this enabled, then drop the number of steps to 4 or 8, depending on the Lightning LoRa that you have. And then the CFG will be 1.0. Now, keep in mind that when you're using the Lightning LoRa, you will be getting speed while sacrificing quality. So let's take a look at an output here. This output was generated using 20 steps without the Lightning LoRa, and this one uses the Lightning LoRa at 4 steps. This image took 23 seconds to generate, while this one took almost 3 minutes to generate. And here they are. You can see this one has a lower quality, especially on the face here, like even the forehead, when you compare it to this version here. So if you want speed, go for this one, but just keep in mind that you will get slightly lower quality. If you have time, I'm going to recommend disabling this and just go for 20 steps and then CFG at 2.5. You can also go to 25 steps if you want that extra detail. And that's pretty much it. Click on the run button, and that's going to be your basic workflow to relight your images. Now, next, You can add a preview bridge. You will need to download the ComfyUI Impact Pack from Manager. Go into Install Custom Node, and you can search for Impact like this. While you're here, you can also install the WAS Walls node. And this is the revised version, and we'll need it to add the image blend by mask. All you'll have to do is to mask out an area that you want to apply that effect. So in this case, I've masked out all of this, and you can see it's applying here. But keep in mind that because I'm inside of ComfyUI, I do not have that fine granular control as in a dedicated application like Affinity here, where I can control the brush size at the top. I have the hardness, here's the flow, this is the opacity, and you can see the mask here. It's not a harsh separation between what I'm masking to what I want to reveal. You can also use gradient in here, and you can be as precise as you would like to get to whatever effect that you want to see, something like this. So in this specific case, I generated 2 images. If I disable the mask here, here is my original image. Here is the generated image where I'm saying relight the image only from the front. And I merge my original image with this generated image relight version by using a mask. And now I'm able to keep this section where I have the headlight basically on while keeping the rest of the image the same. Now, of course, you can do this, but then you get things like that. Now, I'm sure some of you would tell me, hey, you can do better masking inside of ComfyUI, but if you'd like to go that route, there's always a node for that. I just find it easier to use a separate dedicated application whenever it comes to masking or in painting. Okay, so we've talked about this. Let's take a look at how to use a second image to relight the first image. Now, everything else stays the same. Just enable the second node, and you will need to put a black and white image in here. Now, once again, I'm going to go inside of Affinity here. I have this pattern I downloaded for free online, and all I've done is add a black and white adjustment on top. You can do this by clicking on this adjustment icon and then select black and white, and it will convert your colored image into a black and white image, and then you can save this and add it inside of ComfyUI. Okay, so it's important to be black and white, otherwise you will not see the effect in there. Now, in terms of prompt, you will need to restructure your prompt. We'll have the same thing when it comes to the light source, but you just need to add this section in front of it. So relight image 1 using the luminance map from image 2. And I'm getting image 1 and image 2 from these here. Just make sure you're typing it the same as it's written here. And that's pretty much it. That's all I have from this Qwen Image Edit Multi-Angle Lighting. And there is a note somewhere here where it says there will be more updates that will correct some of the angles which are a little bit out of control. Now, from my testing, it worked pretty well, especially in these areas here. All right, that is it for me. Big thank you to everyone supporting the channel on Patreon. Thank you to you for watching until the very end. Have a nice day. Take care. I will see you next time.